major reason why China is building more and more coal-fueled power stations. One a month, I understand. And this is causing tension with the West, which is hell-bent on deindustrializing itself with all the green stuff that we know about. And this is emerging as a new bone of contention with China. China's refusal to kowtow to Western diktat about 2050. Now, China doesn't try to contradict this ideology head-on, and China is building up its renewables at a very fast rate. China needs to become more self-dependent because it's terrified of ending up in the position that Japan was in 1940. So they want more coal, they want more renewables. And they're not going to have any nonsense about downscaling after 2050. That's an illusion on the part of the green movement. Come now to the Greens. These are the spiritual descendants of the peacemakers, the anti-Vietnam people of the 1970s. This is what they have become. In the old days, Greenpeace did what it said on the tin. It was green, but it was also in favor of peace. They've forgotten the peace half of their name. They focus exclusively now on the green. Which brings me to our friend over there, Mr. Sunak, whose house in Richmond, Yorkshire, was attacked by Greenpeace. Now, if No to NATO has pulled off a stunt like that, I am quite sure that the leaders of No to NATO, including Chris and possibly myself, would be hauled in by the police quicker than you can say Greta Thunberg. But the leaders of Greenpeace seem to be given a pass by our establishment, who don't know whether they're coming or going on the green issue. Now you see that, this reminds me of another incident in the Pacific. In 1985, Greenpeace, which really was pro-peace in those days and concerned about nuclear, Greenpeace had a ship, the Rainbow Warrior, which was planning to disrupt a French atomic test in the Pacific in 1985, and the French Secret Service sabotaged that ship, sank it, and killed the poor guy in the process. In those days, Greenpeace was an authentic peace movement. But now, the Greens have become big supporters of NATO. A year ago, Greta Thunberg spoke against Sweden entering NATO. She's gone silent now, it's actually happened. NATO are among the biggest supporters of greenery. NATO is a frequent attendee at all their big conferences, their COP, whatever they call it.
Who's spoken? Who's already spoken?
Greenwashing.
Who's already spoken?
The Pentagon,
I can't remember the name,
NATO,
Who's
the
that?
British
That's a bit about.
military-industrial
I
complex.
think I missed one.
They
There's
are
been-
the
I think
biggest
been
polluters
four,
on God's
I think,
earth.
spoke. Can't remember the names, but
Who's
They
still
are
to
the
speak?
biggest polluters, but they get a pass
I think maybe, I don't know
from
whether
the
Piers is going to
Greens.
speak. or
In
not.
Germany, the Greens are the most rabidly Russophobic party.
I don't know.
Can't get away from Piers. Can't
The
get away from
Greens
him.
and NATO are on a convergent, militaristic, aggressive course, which could end up with conflict with China. Now, one good thing has come out of the Ukraine conflict, and two good things. The first Russia and China have been forced to come together. The leaders of China must be terrified that the Western wet dream of Putin being overthrown comes true, because they would be next in line.
What was it at one?
And for this reason,
What was
China
it, Speaker's
is
Corner,
cooperating with Russia,
No, sorry,
encouraging North Korea to cooperate with Russia. In years gone by, this was NATO's nightmare, that Russia and China would come together. Well, those geniuses across the road, Foreign Office, Number 10, the Pentagon, the White House, those geniuses have brought their own nightmare about. China and Russia are close together. And thank goodness for humanity for that. And the second good thing to come out of it is that the Ukraine conflict has catalyzed a realization on the part of what used to be called the Third World, and now we call the Global South. The Global South, which includes now Russia and China, the non-West, has become more active, more conscious of its own power, more willing to de-dollarize, take other steps to reduce dependence on the NATO powers, the old colonial powers, who thought they were the masters of the universe. They thought they brought about the end of history. Well, they may have brought about the end of history, but they can't bring about the end of geography. America is oceans away, and therefore the global south, its day is coming. So thank you, NATO, for all that. And thank you, Extinction Rebellion, for reminding us extinction. The old green movement back in 1985 was worried about authentic nuclear extinction. Now they worry about a fantasy climate extinction. Final point, a case of stolen identity. The British Labour Party used to be a peace party. What happened to that? I'm ex-Labour. I feel I've had my identity stolen, but I have found a new home in the Workers' Party of Britain. If you, like me, support Labour, fair rights for Labour, if you support applying the brakes to this mad rush to net zero, and if you support peace, do join me in the Workers' Party of Britain. Thank you.
That was Peter Ford. Who was the guy?
I think Des is going to speak now.
Who was it?
I think so.
The US military uses more emissions than over 100 countries.
Yeah.
Just stop oil post-war.
Oh wait, he's just stopped oil. The chap has just stopped oil.
I was thinking each. Your activists don't talk about it.
It's too much. The first three speakers couldn't be here because the microphone was at a sync problem, not at a sync sound.
Alright.
So it wasn't working properly.
Alright, yeah.
The first speaker I had,
So he's got to hold up a megaphone.
So it's just a long term.
Lauren's got to hold up a megaphone.
Yeah, or he wasn't holding it properly.
Okay. It's like there's a little trap door. It's like there's a little trap door there.
We've had to stop oil rather than just annoying people and stopping roads.
Name something and we've done it. I was arrested in
Why don't we
Parliament.
burn down an oil refinery? Them oil refineries that they're built to last for 50 years.
tunnels.
Burn one down.
No, we're non-violent direct action. We take responsibility. Let's.
So are you just annoyed about the workers' party?
Parliament.
If you want to know who I am,
When you're turning working
your
class people
internet,
on
Aldi strawberries,
destroying oil refineries.
and you'll find a picture of me. That's
Yeah,
what I do
yeah.
know. Not justified or not compliant.
It's going to go up
Aldi strawberries.
anyway.
Now today is the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima, the 6th of August 1945. So it's very appropriate we're talking about world peace. And I would say we have an answer to the Ukraine issue. All we need is a peace conference, a ceasefire, and a self-determination vote in East Ukraine. Because all the international countries agree in the right of self-determination. But of course they won't do this because they have a different narrative, namely they say that the Russians caused it. But that is a fake story. But we do have the answer. Now, talking of the great events after the end of the Second World War, it's interesting there are many narratives around, because we know it's obvious that the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were the first events of the Cold War. That's why they were done. But even the people involved would have a different narrative, because in 1970 I was president of Imperial Student Union, so I therefore knew Lord Penny, the Director General of Los Alamos, who was also rector of Imperial College. And I asked him, why were those bombs dropped? He said, well, Piers, if we hadn't dropped them, the war would have gone on longer and more people would have been killed. And I also said, well, why have the second bomb then? He said, we had to have a second bomb because we had to prove to the Japanese that we had more than one. So, they will always have a narrative. But even their narrative, you have to think, well, okay, he probably really believed that. But I would ask a question now about the narrative we're putting forward. We're saying they're contradicting. We're saying that they're doing stupid things in their own narrative, which is going to lead to economic and political chaos in the West. So why are they doing it? Well, maybe they're doing it because they do have a bigger picture. They want a great reset. Maybe they want this utter chaos, politically and economically. We know they want it economically, to bring in something else. Something entirely else might turn up. A new world tyranny. We don't know, but we do know that is what they want. So we've got to think out of the box all the time. And George Orwell, of course, warned us of this. He said, there will always be a war out there. Always. But it's a war against you. They have a war against you. Look at that flag up there. That's a war against you. It's an ideological war against you. They are doing everything they can to control you. We know what they've done about oil prices. They claim the war's caused oil prices to go up. That's insane. There's no oil coming out of Ukraine. Yet in the last quarter, the oil companies' profits went up by zillions. Absolutely zillions. And we're meant to blame the Russians for it. It is nonsense. And now we have the ongoing ideological war, and there's a dog over there I see getting in the way of this, what I'm about to tell you, but we have virtue signalling, name changing around this country now, and a Zelensky Avenue recently turned up in Harlow, an utter monstrosity, and mysteriously it changed its name to Peace Avenue one night. You should applaud that, by the way. It changed its name to Peace Avenue, and then a day or so later it reverted to Zelensky Avenue. But I think, we have to do something about these things, and I would congratulate all those who did. And talking of Harlow, we have here Angela from Harlow, who in fact approached the Ukraine Deputy Ambassador right at the start of the current war, not the 1914 one, the 1922 one, and showed him an OSCE report. OSCE, yeah, that's right. Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe, which was a damning report on the Ukraine's massacre and torture of people in East Ukraine. And the Deputy Ambassador agreed, did he not, to look into it and come back. But he didn't come back. Instead, they changed the report. Interesting, isn't it? And then suddenly the Russians became the aggressors in the new report. So these reports, these fake things from on high, of course, are not anything. Anyway, quick round of applause to Angela for actually raising that right at the start. And the point is, you know, we're only here now because a lot of people have stood up. And I think the message on these symbols, we've got to take down these symbols. We've got to take down these Ukraine flags, we've got to take down LGBT nonsense flags. And I remind you, point one in our united front, not just me, but me and the Southall people, Southall Punjabis and so on. Men are men and women are women. And that immediately excludes us from all the political parties in Parliament, by the way. Okay, but how are we actually going to win? Because, you see, the Great Iraq War movement, that failed. It failed completely. They had 2 million people marching. Now, we've had 2 million people marching here, but we haven't broken the Great Reset yet. But the point is that the Ukraine movement, the Iraq movement, I better confuse myself, the anti-Iraq war movement failed because it wouldn't take on key things. It was begging politicians to do things. Tony Blair said, thank you for asking me, but I'm going to bomb the shit out of Iraq just the same. And he did. That is what happened. So we're only going to win if we actually break their impositions. And I think it was fantastic. Tony mentioned the Fairford. We ought to go to Fairford. We've got to actually stop everything they're doing for this war. If we do that, we'll win. If we don't do that, we will lose. And to beat the whole thing, we've also got to break all their impositions, all their tools. And one of them, of course, is the ULEZ. This is the biggest tool they've got right now. And I've got leaflets about it here. The ULEZ, of course, is a direct attack on living standards, but it's based on the fake ideology of climate change and also lies about pollution. But we actually have to break all their tools. So we've got to go through all their institutions, list them, and see how we can break what they're doing. We're working on the FA, on footballers, to stop footballers being used for a great lockdown in the name of climate or something. We don't know what will happen. But footballers were a very big tool in injecting the population and killing a lot of people. Let's be clear. Footballers now regret it, but we don't want them to be used again. So we've got a campaign there. We've got a campaign in the church to stop the church being used like it is as a tool of XR. There is internal arguments in the church. We've got to be there. We've got to split all their ideological and physical attacks. And if we don't, we will lose. And I think the key thing to understand is about building united fronts. We have here a great principled united front, naming clearly who's responsible for this war. Now, the problem we have is another thing, to stop the war, whatever, and my brother's mixed up with that. And of course, they're ambiguous about the role of Russia. Namely, they say there was a Russian invasion. No, there was no Russian invasion. There was a Russian self-defense. But you see, once you adopt some part of the enemy, thank you, quick round of applause there.
Slava Russia.
You adopt the enemy program in order to get numerical support, you will lose. You will lose. And my brother, although he did fantastically, and I'm his longest standing supporter, for obvious reasons, when he adopted the fake climate story, it was the beginning of the end. Because he adopted that to draw in all these green people. Who runs these green people? The BBC control these green people. So once Jeremy decides he's going to follow these people and keep them on board, he's going to end up being controlled by the BBC and all their raft of fake narratives. And that is what happened. He ended up doing a U-turn on Brexit, which was his downfall. So think about that. We've got to build real united front. And the 12-point united front, the first point I mentioned of, is the beginning of that. It's not a party, it's different parties and individuals together. And you can find out about it on the internet. So I think I've probably said enough right now, but to end on the most popular slogan in the West at the moment. Did I tell you what it is? Yes. Okay, yes. So build real united fronts and resist, defy, do not comply. Do not comply. Resist, defy, do not comply. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There we go, guys. Yeah, share this around, guys. Anyone's interested in a different take on the Ukraine-Russia situation. You probably won't get it on the mainstream media because they're all for Ukraine. They banned RT UK, any sort of dissenting voice. They purge it. So if anyone wants to listen to a different perspective.
Again. Thanks very much indeed, everybody, for turning up today. But I'd like you to do 3 things from today's rally. They're not very difficult things to do. And we were dishing out leaflets to join No to NATO. It's free. So please sign up and urge your friends and family to do likewise. And also, No to NATO, No to War. Organise an online discussion. We've had really good speakers. There was a session. Please watch them and share them. Because the mainstream media, of course, are not telling the truth, as we know, about the reality of the war in Ukraine. They're not telling the truth about the reality of NATO. The fact that NATO poses an existential threat to humanity. So please share those videos and watch them yourself. And the third thing is to look out for the petition that we have posted. It's a parliamentary petition, and it calls for the Article 13 of the North Atlantic Treaty to be invoked. This is the article which enables the withdrawal of a member state. Now, if we can get to 10,000 signatures, that will require the government to issue a formal response. Now, we know, of course, what the response is going to be, but if we can get to that figure, that will, of course, give us something else upon which to campaign, and it will expose the government still further. If we could get to 100,000, of course, that would precipitate a debate, potentially, in the House of Commons. So there are those 3 things that I would like you to do, because it's so important that we get the truth out there. Because, you know, Vladimir Zelensky, as he likes to call himself these days, rather than Vladimir, he's being portrayed as a man who's jailed socialists. He's closed down opposition media. He's jailed opposition politicians. He's even attacked the church. And we know, as I was saying in my first contribution, his real objective is to sell off Ukraine's assets to the highest bidder. £400 billion worth of Ukrainian assets are now up for grabs. So it's crucial that we amplify our message from today. Go out and tell your friends and family to watch those videos, as I say, to petition, and make sure that you join No to NATO, No to War. Because if we don't stand up, nobody else will. So thank you for coming today, and give peace a chance.
That was Chris Williamson, former Labour MP. David Clues. No, that I know it's got it on the poster there, but it's a typo. Unfortunately, he wasn't here. He was never here. He was never going to be here. It's just that No to NATO, they got it wrong, basically.
Where's the rest of the people? That's all you're doing while you're here.
What about you? Sean? Nice to see you. Good. Come and pick my neighbour up for me. Oh, did I? Wasn't it you, those?
You might have told me something about a neighbour. Yeah, what happened?
My neighbour with the bike issue.
What do you think?
Okay, maybe.
Well, what do you think? What happened?
You know, can you
I'm live, yeah. I'm facing that way. I have no idea what you're on about. Yeah.
We've got an upcoming social for To NATO at the Leicester Square Wetherspoons. For anyone who's interested, we'll be there in just a few minutes. So everyone who's interested, please come and join us there. Thank you.
Tell me later. I'm going to finish this soon, yeah? So, yeah, I got here a bit late, guys. But I thought, I thought I was up, and I thought I wasn't even going to come down here. But I'm sort of knackered from I had a bit of a crazy one last night. So I wasn't going to. Hello, mate. You all right? I don't like. What's your you had a
Not in the future.
Oxford? Yeah, not in the future. Yeah.
I mean, I did an interview with you before.
Yeah, that's right.
You asked me a few questions, but afterwards you sort of turned on me. Now, because I had a bank account, you were saying, you know, I'm dodgy. But
no, people are asking that. That's why I asked you. That's the reason.
So, yeah, it's just because there's lots of people were piling on me, like Jeremy Corbyn,
Piers Corbyn, yeah.
without even ever speaking to you. Just on the day, said I was controlled opposition.
Yeah.
Based on nothing whatsoever. Yeah. So it's a bit disheartening, you know.
If you see my I don't know. If you watched my follow-up segments to that after I interviewed you, I did say on my show. Oh, I'm live now, Christina. I did say on my show that like I don't think you're controlled opposition personally. But I think he seemed like an alright bloke personally. That's actually what I said on the follow-up thing. But many people were asking that.
It's difficult to see everything, you see.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm launching a new thing in September, which definitely.
How's it going though? How's the Not Our Future going?
Well, Not Our Future is like a base from which I'll do projects. So the Oxford leaflet was one project, but the Oxford thing really hit home to me. I mean, 400 people turned up. We leafleted at every house that we could get to. I mean, I made a mistake. I gave some people two leaflets. They ran out of leaflets, some people. But
no, it's better than nothing.
But basically, at the end of it, I said, that's one town, one topic. Whereas we want to get to everybody on all topics. And I just thought, we don't have the resources.
Didn't I hear that they've now? You know what? I didn't actually look into it. I've heard that they pulled that 15-minute neighbourhoods though. Is that true? For Oxford, they pulled the trial.
I've lost track as well, but there is a general rollback on them since. Like lots of people are announcing they're not doing it. Canterbury have said they're not doing it. I mean, the guy.
Yeah, so they must have revoked it then. It must have worked then, surely, your campaign.
Well, I just look at that as releasing the pressure. They'll do another
pressure valve. They just put a pause on it. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think they learned their lesson from the poll tax riots. They just said, "We're doing this," and everybody went, "What? No."
What do you think? You don't mind being on camera, do you? Right? What was it? Oh, right. I thought I was blowing away. What was to say?
Take me on the rack off. I look a bit.
No, that's all right. What do you think of? The ULEZ is looking to come in here in London. The ULEZ is looking to come in on the 29th of August. What do you think about all that?
Well,
I mean, do you think it will actually occur on the 29th? Because there's all these kind of mutterings that the Transport Secretary might stand.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I mean, I've been thinking about it for the last week. So, I mean, I'm sort of involved by proxy because I started together. That's a different story altogether.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
I don't care about them per se, but I do keep an eye on what's going on.
Me too, yeah.
But I also know the group, the wider group behind the ULEZ, not the one that Together sort of jumped on with.
Yeah.
But okay, so we had the Hillingdon election, the Oxford election.
Oxford, yeah.
And now we've seen this sort of rollback from Rishi Sunak over the last couple of weeks. So that could either be, well, it's definitely not them giving up on net zero. But what it could be is they might have said, okay, that's it. We lost our other 2 by-elections. We're toast. We only won this one because, you know,
they think that the Tories will like save them, like in terms of ULEZ.
Yeah. So, but my general feeling is that the Tories are sort of, we knew Labour were going to landslide the next one. So I think maybe what's going on is the powers that be are drawing a red line under the Tories, saying, okay, right, you've got a new job now. Your job is to pretend to go a bit anti-net zero and anti-woke and anti-all that stuff a bit, just to cut off any opposition party that grows up out of this grassroots stuff. So a political party could rise up in the next 6 months against ULEZ and against woke and against all this stuff, and that could take over Labour, you know, in the next election potentially. So if the Conservatives now say, oh, we're starting to get on this now, then that might see off any opposition party growing up supporting. That's the only way I could explain it. They're definitely not going, oh, this is terrible. Even Tony Blair now is saying that. So whatever Tony Blair says, you know it's the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I am.
But do you think it will come in on the 29th though, the ULEZ?
Well, I don't.
In London.
I mean, I don't know, but you know, there was the court, the judicial review the other day, sort of gave the green light technically. But I don't know. Maybe, like I said, Rishi Sunak might veto it and say, no, you're not allowed to do that. And then
it would be a vote winner in London because Tories are famously they can't really get London. It's mostly all Labour in London, pretty much.
But again, as I said, I can't imagine the Tories winning the next election. I don't think they can either. But it would destroy the popular grassroots supports for these, issues.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, really, because if it does, like me personally, I've personally said, if once this comes on the 29th, I do van life, so I'm not always in London. I drive around the whole country, right? And but whenever I'm in London, I won't be paying the ULEZ. Like, it comes to 20. I think it should, like you mentioned, the poll tax. Like the government today was brought down not because of the riots, but because no one was paying the poll tax. It was because that was the reason. It wasn't that the riots were, irrelevant. Whether they occurred or not, it wouldn't have mattered. The same thing would have occurred. The government of the day would have fallen because it's a total failure of a policy. It was Thatcher's number one thing at the time. And then when no one was paying the poll tax, that's what brought her down. So I think personally that people just need to stop paying the ULEZ, and then if no one pays it, then what can they do really?
Well, I mean, definitely that'd be.
What do you think?
Definitely, I wouldn't pay it. I mean, I was disappointed. I live in Kent. I came up to London and I was checked what I had to pay, and they say, oh, I don't have to pay. I mean, my car is quite old. But it must be just on the limit that I don't have to pay it.
Yeah, but, it's a bit funny because you get certain vehicles that are quite high pollutants, but they are exempt, and then you get ones that are not pollutant, and but they're not allowed in the ULEZ. You know what I mean?
It's not about green.
It's a very strange thing that I've noticed. Yeah.
And you could have a dodgy exhaust that's pumping out stuff. Anything, but it's still exempt.
Yeah. So what have you got? Is there anything coming up that you've got? Any events that you want to maybe promote?
I've got a big thing coming up in September. I can't say exactly what it is now, but it's gauged. It's based around getting everybody working together. Because I originally came up with the idea for Together. But
what do you think? Sorry to interrupt. What do you think of them now? Because I was here yesterday as well, and there was a big anti-ULEZ protest going on.
Did you get wet?
Yeah, quite, very. It's so much so that my cable was too wet. There was moisture. It wouldn't load my phone because it wouldn't charge my phone. So eventually I just ran out of battery. But we were doing it, and I noticed that I didn't get there right at the start. I got there about an hour after the event had occurred. And it was quite strange to me because, if you were to look at the Together YouTube channel and the Together emails and all that, you would think that yesterday's event was Together's event. And I said to some of the main people that are always there, I said, where's like Anna Miller and like the other together guy? He said they turned up with their little black and white signs, which I didn't know you actually buy. They're £2 online. I didn't know that, right? He turned up with his little black and white signs. He did a photo op and then he fucked off. He was only there for about like no more than half an hour, something like that, and then that was it. And then I imagine then either today or maybe last night. I don't watch GB News, but he seems to be a regular GB News guy. And it's like, I imagine next time he's on GB News, then he'll just go, oh yeah, it was my event, it was great, it was fantastic. But they only stayed there for about half an hour and then they fucked off. Just got their photo op opportunity and that was it. They were on ITV News and that was it. And it's just like, what's? I don't like. It seems like they're trying to like monopolise the ULEZ thing. It's our event and that's it. No one else. Oh, now it's run by us and they're gonna lead it in this way. It's not like, because when you hear Together, the name, you think that you sort of get this idea there's going to be like a round table of people that are all equal to one, but it doesn't seem like that. It just seems like Anna Miller's just running the show, and that's what
yeah. I mean, I could say all sorts of things. I mean, Anna Miller got everybody in a room together in July 21, like Lawrence Fox, Richard Tice, what's for them, Claire Fox, me, lots of people, and I got on the steering committee. Well, he said, what should we do, And his suggestion was we would all send the same tweet out on a Friday. And I got on the steering committee, like about 12 or 14 of us got on the steering committee, and I put forward a pitch for let's set up a group called Together, because we're all working together now, because I thought we were. And let's have a declaration, because I thought it would be one step up from the Great Barrington Declaration.
This was the mandatory jab era, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was the first thing, but and I designed the logo and gave an idea of what the website would be like, and everybody went, yeah, okay, let's do that. So that was rubber stamped. So that's what we did, and that's what Together became. And I did all that stuff and made it all happen. But then I wanted to go beyond. I wanted to do what Not Our Future's doing. Like everything, like essentially.
So more
the Great
on
Reset,
Oh, I thought you meant that more like on the ground, leafleting.
Well, I want to do that as well, but I want to get the word out to the public on everything, like the fact that there's a big thing happening against us. Whereas Anna Miller didn't want to go beyond vaccine. At the time, it was just vaccine passports. This was before they were talking about mandates. And then he allowed us to go into mandates, and that was it. And for various reasons, I won't go into, I left in November, and didn't have anything to do with them again, and we never would have anything to do with them again, beyond general cooperation on to save for the greater good. But I know people who run the whole ULEZ thing, and I know the whole story about what's going on there, and everything that you just described yourself is par for the course.
Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of the admin people and mods on like Facebook groups, etc. That they've all kind of not resigned, but because it was never really a job. It was just something that people do voluntarily. But they just they just sort of kick the can and go, no, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And it's something to do with Together and stuff. I don't think they like it. I'm not 100% sure exactly. I don't want to put words into that effect, but I only heard about it yesterday, so I don't know the whole story. So that's why.
Well, I mean, just very basically, I just don't think Together know what they stand for.
Well, I was just going to say. So you obviously, were you speaking here, by the way? Were you speaking at this event?
No, I just know some of the guys.
Oh, right, cool. Oh yeah, I know Neil as well. Yeah. I was just going to because so for example, this is what I had a bit of a Barney with Anna Miller with, and it's like you guys call yourself Together, but you're not really together, are you? Because you've got a very select group of people.
Well, I saw you talking about the other day that he's giving you daggers or something. Yeah, that was the thing. You see, I lost track of the whole ULEZ thing, and then the other day I saw lots of pictures of Anna Miller Together to do the results of the judicial review, and I had in my mind that Together had actually done the case themselves. I was down, and then I just said, "Hang on, that doesn't sound like it." So I looked it up. That's the thing where the 4 councils were taking them.
Yeah, it's
nothing
to
do Together.
Nothing to do with it.
From all the pictures you see, you think it was.
That's what I don't like about it. It gives this. I called it like stolen valor. Do you know what that means? Stolen bladder?
See, I know exactly what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be diplomatic.
No, I'm just giving you my.
Yeah.
I'm not putting words into your mouth or anything like that. I'm just giving you my take on it. It's like I was saying, like with Piers. It's like Piers Corbyn. Like, keeping in mind, I was never a Corbynista, like in the before time. BC before COVID, I call it, right? And it's like I was never a Corbynista of Jeremy or Piers. I didn't even know Piers was at that point. And
Was David Clue supposed to speak here earlier?
No, that was an error. That was a typo error made by To NATO. I think they just got confused because David has spoken at their events before, but they just made a mistake and thought that David Clue was going to be here today. So that was a typo and their mistake. But he's done he was doing their online event on Thursday. But I'm just going to say, I was just like Piers Corbyn. He's been talking about ULEZ since the very first day I met him, like years ago in 2020. During the lockdown, he was mentioning he was briefly bringing up ULEZ and the climate kind of stuff as well. And
I was big into Piers before COVID on the climate stuff, all through the noughties and stuff.
It's just what I don't like about it. It's like together what it is now. It's got this very sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Sanitized kind of gloss to it, where it's like, oh, they won't have Piers on. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're together, but we won't have him on. Even though I was like Adam, like the guy's been there since day one, mate. Like this is like the top guy, really. He's a meteorologist. He's literally an expert in the field of climate. You know what I mean? Of weather. You know what I mean? And all of this, and it's insane that you're not having you're just avoiding this guy. And it's just this kind of, I find it's more because it's like this snooty kind of elitism way about it, rather than Piers Corbyn's insane or whatever. It's more so that he's not really one of our people. He's not one of our type. You know what I mean? That's my perspective. I'm not trying to get you to put words into your mouth, as I said, but that's just my perspective on it.
I can't remember which speaker it was now, but
they go into a town.
Was it? No, it was Piers. It was Piers talking about Jeremy, about how he decided to accept something they didn't believe in to appeal to a wider market.
That's right. Yeah, the green lobby.
Or anybody, or just. But that's not necessarily together, because I don't think together believe or Alan Miller. I mean, when you say the word together, you really mean Alan Miller.
I think that. Yeah.
So, from what I knew back then, and probably hasn't changed, he doesn't believe in any conspiracies. Those conspiracies go on. All these things are different, individual different things.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether. Do you think that's genuine? Do you think that's genuine, or is he being a bit? Is he being genuine with that? Like, or can he not? I mean, maybe I've just been down the rabbit hole too long. I don't know, but I can see how the ULEZ stuff and the 15-minute neighbourhoods and the LTN, I can see how they're all connected into an Agenda 2030 thing with the UN. I mean, it is a real document. It does exist.
I mean, from private conversations I've had, just him and me, back in the day.
He just doesn't believe it.
No, back then anyway. He'd ask me what I thought, and I'd say, Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, blah, blah, blah. And he'd sort of, just me and him, so he wasn't trying to impress anybody. But
interesting.
I'd be amazed if the people like I left behind and together who stayed haven't managed to talk him around, because it's so obvious. It's like listening. Do you ever listen to London Calling?
I used to at the start.
I mean, it's almost entertainment value now, just for the fact that Toby still doesn't get it. But Toby's been very good to me.
That's what I mean. I like to think that people like Toby Young and Alan Miller are actually quite intelligent. Weird that they can't seem to connect the dots. It's just so bizarre to me. It's like right there in front of them, and they just can't see it. It's like looking at one of those paintings that if you look at them long enough, you suddenly see a picture.
I could never see those.
But it's like one of those kind of things. It's really strange how they can't.
I think they're both different cases. I think Toby, must see it.
He must do. He speaks to James Denham all the time. He must do.
The thing is, if you just looked at lockdown on Daily Skeptic and didn't know anything about who was behind it, you'd think you wouldn't believe Toby's position compared to his website. You wouldn't put them together.
really strange. That's really strange. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. You probably want to get away from me. Yeah, let me know. Yeah, please do. If you have another event coming up, just message me. Neil knows me like that. Where you going?
Apparently, it's not my choice, but we're meeting in the Weatherspoons in Leicester Square.
Oh, I was there yesterday, funny enough. I was there yesterday. Yeah. I might see you there then. Yeah, all right, mate, cool. That was just Neil McRae there. I missed his speech, unfortunately. He was speaking at this event, but I missed him. I was a bit late. Like I said, it's totally random that I'm even up here. I mean, that guy seems all right. You know, I can't remember his name now. It's what's his name, guys? Not after I forgot to bloody ask it. Is it David? Is it Dave? What's if any smarty pants are watching? Not our future. Oh my god, I've forgotten his name. But yeah. Hey, you all right? How you doing? You good? Yeah, I'm good. You all right? You good? Yeah. Good. You want to see? I'm just live at the moment. You want to see anything? My live? Oh really? Yeah, I'm happy myself, mate. No, I parked up at South East London. Well, actually, I got my tyre. I'm not going to deal with it. I thought I'd deal with it today. But I had a bit of a heavy night last night, and I think I'll deal with it tomorrow. So it's still flat. It's still a flat tyre on the side of the road. I'm just. It's in a nice place. Yeah, it's in the right place. So that's all that matters. So I woke up today and I went, what I needed with this guy. I got to buy 2 new ones. Yeah. So yeah, I know. But so I just thought, no, I won't. All good. I missed. I got here about an hour late, unfortunately. So I missed. I caught on the. Yeah, and then I've heard Peter Ford and Pierce, Chris Williams. Yeah, so all good. How's To NATO going then? Yeah, that's good, man.
There's another one up in Glasgow.
Alright, David Smith did that one, is it?
But the broadcast, the
live stream. Yeah, I saw it first. I was doing my live stream show, and then on the show I popped in on the screen. I showed it on the screen. Going on sort of thing. Yeah. It looked good. Chris Williams, he was hosting it, wasn't he? Yeah. It looked pretty sweet. Yeah, that's what's good. I'm glad it's becoming regular. Becoming more regular. What do you think? I mean, I always think that it's almost coming to an end. But then it just keeps going on and on and on. Like, surely they will. I mean, this guy lasted lost. Like, they run out of weapons and everything. It just feels like, I just feel like now that police just sort of just letting them, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know whether I think they'll be more terrified of China than they are Russia. I don't know about whether they'll be. I don't know. I mean, it could be.
Listen, lovelies, can we get someone to take a photo of the Azov flag with the memorial? Just show together.
What? Azov flag?
The Nazi flag next to the memorial where all the British soldiers died.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You can take a photo of that.
Yeah, I'll just go up to it shortly. Yeah.
Both of them in the same picture.
Yeah. Hang on.
Because he's true in the beginning.
That's quite.
So we've got a problem. We've got a problem to get to a real scientific understanding.
Manchester, London,
only protect our families and children, because numerous generals in Russia said either it will be
In Russia?
or ruble. Or ruble. They want to take over. This is nothing to do
It's not that Pratt.
Russian language.
Not that Pratt.
This is
What's
nothing
his
to do
name?
with anything else except for a land
What's his
grab.
name again? Pavlov, is it?
Putin is a war
No,
criminal, and this is why we are here, because what is going on in Ukraine is not just a Ukrainian problem. When they hold a summit 2 weeks ago in St. Petersburg, and the week before and until now, regular bombing of and destruction of Ukrainian grain and blackmail of Africa is not just a Ukrainian problem. Now there is a footage emerging that Belarusian soldiers are being captured by Ukrainian army. They were on a contract basis. When their contract was finishing, Wagner, who is there right now, are recruiting them to fight in Ukraine. This is why Wagner was sent to Belarus. The only accomplices in this crime are Belarus and North Korea. We have whole of North America, they have North Korea. We have whole of Europe supporting us, they have Belarus. This is right and wrong, death and life. We don't want anything else except for peace. They call Ukraine a breadbasket of Europe. Russia doesn't even have a nickname. If it would have a nickname, then it would be a delusional death ripper. Ask anyone in Moldova, ask a Polish person, ask a Lithuanian, ask a Latvian, ask people from Kazakhstan or Georgia what they think of Russia and USSR. Who does Putin quote all the time? Mostly he quotes Stalin. What does he do? He does worse than
Just trying to get a shot. I feel like a bird watcher now, where he's just waiting for that perfect, or a sniper waiting for that perfect shot,
90 years
so I can get a
later,
screenshot.
Putin does even worse. He destroys that grain. And less than half, 25,000 tons, he's promising to give to some African countries, yet he destroys more than twice in one day in Ukraine. Russia is a terrorist state. Russia is a terrorist state.
I hate these chants.
Russia is a terrorist state.
Oh, I'm waiting blow the other way, so I can get that shot.
Stop Putin, stop the war. Stop Putin, stop the war. And this is why we gather here, and always we have at least we have a quota, minimum 1 million. Why aren't you in Ukraine? Why aren't you fighting? And he said, this man over there with the cap who was standing here earlier, he said, I support Putin. So if you support him, why the hell are you standing here with me? And he says, why am I not in Ukraine? Well, we as volunteers here, we send so much aid there that I am confident to say that we destroyed more enemy from here than
Azov still free multiple defenders.
We do what we can do. We are not
this guy's.
running away from a mobilization like Russians do in Georgia and Kazakhstan.
This guy here, he's
I live
asking
in
about
London
the
for
flag.
19 years, so when a Brit asks me, why am I not in Ukraine? Well, because Russia is bombing Ukraine.
fuck's sake.
Ukraine is the only country that I want to go to. But because of Russia, I can't do that. Before that, it was because pandemic disruption. Now it's because of Russia. When I talk to my friends, I don't know, will I ever hear their voice again because of shelling and bombing? One of my cousins, he enrolled on a second week.
So annoying, guys. I'm just waiting for this flag to blow out.
To territorial defense, and they said the queue is so big that we might not be able even to take you in, even if you want to fight, because they only recruit mostly in Ukraine from those who have experience. Russians recruit from those who are desperate. When we capture their soldiers and they say, I don't involve in politics, he doesn't know even the population or...
Oh, when I was down there, the protest pen, I could see it blowing like crazy, and now we're fucking just standing there.
This is the first time most of Russians being outside Russia. They steal whatever they can from Ukraine.
Oh,
you can't imagine. From
listening
toilets
to this shite,
to
man.
tablets to phones to anything.
We only victims.
Devices got tracked into the smallest villages that don't have gas or running water. I don't know where they get electricity from, but apparently they need an iPhone that is stolen from someone in Ukraine. This is who are we dealing with. We are dealing with terrorists who are blackmailing the world now with food. They were responsible for the flood. More than 100,000 war crimes been now officially recorded. What is an official count? It's crazy. This is why we stand here and we are begging you. Stop Putin, stop the war. Stop Putin, stop the war. Stop Putin, stop the war. And we're gonna have one of our friends, she wants to sing a very beautiful Ukrainian song. So we're gonna... Okay. None of us, like that cop over there, none of us are getting paid to be here. I don't want to be here, but I need to be here. I wasn't born in Ukraine, but I spent all my childhood in Ukraine. I don't need to be paid like them not. Which they're saying that this is not their role. This is why we are here. No one of us is getting paid here in this country only because of this war. Because we were attacked in the middle of the night.
Let's buy something though, guy. You got it Azov Battalion. Let's go. Something to some. Oh, what's going on?
Russia is a terrorist state. Stop Putin! Stop the war! 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 If you ask one of our speakers what has happened in his family, he will say my mother was killed in Mariupol. If you ask any of our friends who lost their loved ones in Ukraine after Russian bombing, and you call me a liar. Dementia is a big problem in your age. Delusions are a problem that is not age-related in Russia. When Zakharova says that we hate the Russians because we don't have a president like Putin, yeah, you do, of course. You also hate the dentist as well. Please, stop. Don't embarrass yourself. And they're here because they don't have anything to stand for. This is why.
It tells me I'm a Russian. Take medicine. Take your medicine at home.
All we want is to be free. All we want is peace. Ukraine never started a single war conflict in their history. How about Russia? Officially admitted that Wagner Group is fully funded by Russian government. So when Wagner recruits Belarusian people, when Wagner rages civil wars in Africa, Putin is officially responsible. Russian government is officially responsible. And this is why we are here. None of us need to be paid. We paid for the tube. We paid when we bought our flags. We bought our own generator. We donated money. We bought that generator with our own money. We just collected money from the volunteers. We bought every single thing that you see here, from the posters, from everything. We bought it with our own money. We are not being funded by some third party, you know, Stop the War Russia Limited. We are not funded by anyone. I am not one of the organizers. I am not a professional speaker. The only way I speak is because I don't want to live in a world where Russia takes over, where Russia can blackmail a whole continent of Africa, where they destroy grain so they can sell theirs on a higher price, where they threaten Poland, that Western Poland was given them by Stalin, and they will remind them about that.
Well,
I wonder how they're gonna do that. When Putin said that Crimea is Russia and he annexes it, he says that Western Poland is Russia. Guess what are his plans? This is not just a Ukrainian war. When Greek, Turkish and Israeli food ships come under guard of army planes and boats recently, that means that Greece, Turkey and Israel are not scared of Russia in the Black Sea. They did it safely, and when Ukraine said, after our grain was destroyed in our ports, when Ukraine said that all Ukrainian ports, I think most of them, now will be in a war zone, they will be considered as a highest threat possible. I'm very sorry because I was reading and listening to Ukraine, so I'm translating now as I speak. So basically, any single ship like that, the biggest oil tanker, the SIG, the biggest oil tanker that was bombed, it was bombed because the moment any civil tanker is used to refuel a warship or any other army vessel, it becomes, under international law, it becomes a normal target for any army. Especially because of the Syria, that same tanker was already deemed as a war criminal because it was taking fuel, taking oil to Syria. So us damaging it, the motor bay is destroyed, and they say it's a civil vessel, it's an oil vessel. Ask any international entity. That tanker, long time ago, it became a war machine. Anything. If you use your Toyota Prius to help soldiers get to the front line, that Toyota Prius is now an army vehicle under international laws. And anyone, it does not matter, any country who gonna join them, no one actually supporting them, but I'm saying, like Belarus or North Korea, can you imagine how everything is going to plan in Russia that they are going to North Korea for help? Can you imagine? So this is why we're here, because Russia is a terrorist state. 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 One of our friends, she's gonna sing a beautiful Ukrainian song, and after that song, for our English-speaking friends, I'm gonna translate to the context. Слава Україні!
Oh, fuck no, God's got in my way.
Thank you for supporting Ukraine. The song is for you.
Мої люди, українка я, назавжди пишатись цим буду. Стоїмо пліч-опліч, один за одного ми сила. Непереможна ми Україна, вони хочуть забрати наш дім. Зуськи, отаких людей, збройних сил нема у руських. Нас подих свободи.
I'll bother with that. Right.
І сильної волі.
Let's see who's a boots. Oh. Yeah, I might end the stream soon, guys, because I've only got 30% on my battery, so I might have to do that. Right? What? But it has our flag by the World War II memorial. Yeah, that's quite funny, isn't it?
I know, they're literally not holding up a Nazi flag in the middle of London.
I know, quite funny, right by the World War II statues, yeah. Getting like a bunch of screenshots going on there. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the World War II memorial there at the side on the left. With
So, ladies and gentlemen, добрий день, брати і сестри, слава Україні! Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to remind you that war in Ukraine is not over, and it's very far from over. Ukraine now faced the terrible things. The bloody Russian Federation came to our land to kill us. It's simple as it is, it's not any conflict, it's a bloody war, it's a bloody invasion by a new Nazi these days.
That's ironic. And
Long time ago, we together beat the German Nazi. Now, the Nazi raised their voice, raised their head again. That bloody evil raised on the east. And the things what Russia doing in Ukraine now shouldn't happen in our planet on the middle of 21st century, on the middle
I think I got it anyway.
Ukraine now fighting for the freedom.
Sorry guys, I'm ignoring you. Just that I became like a bird watcher then for a sec. Here we like talking about Nazis. Nah, the German Nazis. It's like, yeah, now you've got the Ukraine Nazis.
The Russians, they are 100
How ironic.
millions of brainwashed people. They believe that half of the world is there.
So anyway guys, I think I'm going to end this stream because I don't think there's much left to do. I might have a chat with the protest crib people maybe. Have a chat with them. No.
That's it. But you can speak to the British, they're very nice.
Sorry.
It's been a pleasure, my friend. And you too.
All good? How you doing? You alright being on camera? Yeah. All good? How's the protest crib going? Made it a right little, nice little social area, haven't you?
Yeah, I should see it. Sorry, hang on.
Yeah, got all the food, got a little dog here, got, yeah, the crib. Yeah, the crib. It's the crib. They've got all plants here and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty cool.
As you can see, we're in the fabulous location just across from 10 Downing Street.
Yeah.
We're here going on 18 years now.
18 weeks. Wow.
And yeah, we're trying to entertain people, positivity, bring them in with music. And people are on a good vibe, to be quite honest.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, people are actually responding really well to us. You know, we get the odd crazy in the night. Sometimes people pull down the signs.
Yeah.
Appears as one disappeared. They tore down Stop Sexualising Our Children.
So
Yeah, go
people
ahead.
on my chat are like saying, would you like to say a few words with you? I'm live at the moment. Just the people want me to chat to you because they've seen you obviously on the screen. Just my YouTube. I work with UNN as well, Unity News Network as well. But I got it's my personal channel, Delivering Liberty. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. Would you like to say a few words?
What's it called, the channel?
Delivering Liberty. I'm getting my cards are in the post.
I like the title.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm a simple man delivering a message of liberty. Well, so I heard you were speaking yesterday at Jam for Freedom Festival. You did. I heard it was a good talk. Obviously, I've not seen it though, but I heard it was good because obviously people who watch this are in that kind of circle as well. If you get what I mean. So, what brought you? Obviously, I missed your speech unfortunately, but what brings you here? What's your belief in No to NATO?
No to NATO, no to war. Asked me to speak. It's a good organization. It's bipartisan, multi-party. It's not left or not right exclusively.
Yeah.
It's all types of different people here. We'll all agree that this proxy war against Russia and Ukraine is a disaster, and it's pushing us, Europe, Western society, countries, NATO member states, pushing them up in a collision course with World War III. And it's been devastating to the economy of Europe especially, and it's fueling the cost of living crisis, and too many young Ukrainians are dying by being thrown into a losing war with Russia. That's really a vanity exercise for NATO and the United States and Britain as Western hegemonic powers. They think they need to show Russia that teach them a lesson, but who's being taught the lesson? We're being taught the lesson.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I was just over there at the pro-Ukraine regime side down there. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you've noticed, they're actually flying an Azov battalion flag.
I'm going to go have a look at that.
Yeah. It's quite, obviously I've said to, there's a very pro-Ukraine chap, he's not over there, but he usually speaks at Speaker's Corner. I asked him, I say, well, the Azov battalion, aren't they kind of, do you believe that they're a Nazi outfit of some sort?
Well, it's not what I believe they are.
Yeah, because you speak to any of the pro-Ukraine guys over there, I imagine they'll say, oh no, they're not Nazi, that's all Russian propaganda or whatever.
They've tried to give them an image makeover in the Western media, and because it's a big point of embarrassment. They're actually banned or censured by the U.S. State Department for being a Nazi organization. They lifted it. I think that sort of restriction later. They didn't want to send arms to the Ukrainian armed forces that had Nazi battalions, basically. So that was a problem years ago, but all of a sudden it's forgotten about because we need to fight the Russians.
Yeah, so now they're on our side.
But if you look at it, just follows a familiar pattern of the U.S. and Britain have always allied and backed extremists, whether it be Al Qaeda, whether it be other gaggle of radical Islamist terrorist groups in Syria. Not just the Azov battalion, but the other radical Ukrainian nationalists that the Western intelligence agencies have backed since the Second World War. That's declassified. It's not even up for debate. There's a long history of the United States backing Nazi, former Allied Nazi elements in Poland, in Ukraine, right through the Soviet Union period, because the West believed that was the weak underbelly of the Soviet Union, and they could one day exploit it. They didn't do it during the Cold War, but after the collapse of the Soviet Union, you can see they have been very successful with this actual strategy, which is what we are seeing now. So it's not even up for debate.
Do you think it's a bit? I mean, again, if you were to ask them, they'd say probably they're not a Nazi outfit, but. I mean, I got thick skin. I try not to get offended too easily. But you think it's a bit bad taste that Azov battalion is in between two World War II memorials, kind of like right by the cenotaph as well. Of all
Make a video about it.
I've just
You should do a nice edit on that. Make a nice little a little short video just explaining the situation, so that people can understand that.
Well, I was just over there, and Piers Corbyn was over there too, and there was a bit of a little slight altercation there. They're quite precious about that flag being touched. So you might, if you do go over there, the security are quite a bit heavy over there.
I'll definitely have a look. It looks very interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Well, thank you, Patrick. That's very. I don't. I'm actually, funny enough, someone. I've got. Yes, it's Delivering Liberty. At 21 Wire. 21 Wire. Okay, cool. We'll do that.
DMs are open.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. Cheers. That was Patrick Hennison there of. I think got many different. Actually does a UK column as well. I think he's most notably for. He's probably got other. He's got other sort of platforms that he speaks. I think TNT Radio as well, I believe. So we'll just wait here, see what he's done. Who's this then? Who's this?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Charlie was given to us by what I think might be a 77th grader.
What?
Yeah, we have people come in here all the time shouting out that, but we don't know who they are.
Someone left a dog here?
Yeah, and start asking questions and come down and give us donations and sweep up and then drive away again.
Well, someone left a dog here. That's quite a that's quite a very healthy dog. It's a healthy puppy as well.
It's Charlie.
Wait, you just came in here? Yeah, so they've turned this protest pen into quite a cool little hangout. I see that, obviously I'm not always in London now, but I see at the weekends, usually like Fridays and Saturdays, this turns into a little bit of a little social kind of gathering. Like people are making, like they're having a little picnic over there sort of thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's that kind of place to go. Hey, rather than spending all that money, all that beer tax on these highly expensive alcoholic beverages nowadays in the pubs, because it's not a pub's fault, it's the state that is imposing that tax upon them. If you know, in fact, if you buy a pint of beer, pint of lager, I mean, 2/3 of that pint is tax. So really, the only thing that the 1/3 of it is tax free. The rest of it is tax. I mean, that's how disgraceful the cost is. You've got 20% VAT as well and all of that. So it's quite, we are we're a heavily taxed people. I would call us tax battery chickens, if anything. Free range tax slaves. I think they're just playing. I think this one and the puppy. Has he gone down there? Let's have a look.
World support Ukraine! World support Ukraine! World support Ukraine! World support Ukraine! Support Ukraine! World support Ukraine! World support Ukraine! Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, Ukraine needs your support.
I think this is
because without your support, Ukraine will not survive. The bloody Russian came to our land without any war, without any warning. Without any manifest or whatever it's called.
Azotol free manifold defenders. What does that mean? Can someone type that into Google or something like that? Or preferably not Google, preferably like Brave or something. But if it's Google, then fair enough. Yeah. But like, what is? Someone type it in. What is that? Azotol free manifold defenders. It says behind that woman.
Which bombing civilian infrastructure.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Where you going?
I'll buy a glass of wine soon, before the end of the year.
Where you going?
We're going for a coffee, see someone.
Oh, where you going? You going good? Any sort of after events? Anything going on there? You got Speaker's Corner or something like that?
Some people have gone there already. I think
I may go Speaker's Corner.
Shane have gone there, and Angela.
Okay.
And Ellie, I think, as well.
Okay, cool. I'll go Speaker's Corner then. I'm just checking out this flag and the Azovtal free. What is that? What does this mean? Do you know what this means? Azovtal free Manipal defenders.
I don't know.
Does anyone know in the chat what that is? Sean, it's the name. It's the name of places in Ukraine. Okay. It's not. Take care, man. So it's not an organisation.
About the friendship, about the nuclear weapon again. They signed many agreements. They call it one people, one nation. And what they did in 14...
Hello, is it Chris Williamson, isn't it? Would you mind, because I'm live at the moment on my channel, would you mind, like, do you mind me asking you, being on camera? I was going to say, what's, because obviously this is the Azov flag, I saw you taking pictures there, as I was as well. What's your opinion of that? You think that's of bad taste, perhaps, in front of being between two World War II memorials?
I think it's incredible bad taste. Millions of people lost their lives. I mean, 26 million Russians, Soviet citizens, lost their lives at the hands of the Nazis. And yet here we have this rally in support of proxy war in Ukraine, actually sporting an Azov,
is not over.
Nazi.
And all Ukrainians
I imagine if you spoke to any of these chaps here, they would say that, oh, Azov battalion isn't a Nazi regime, that's Russian propaganda or something. Is that the case?
I mean, they've tried to whitewash their reputation, but they've accepted that they're Nazis. I mean, indeed, the Western media used to report on these matters before the Russian military operation. They've sort of done a 180-degree volte-face position on this issue now. I mean, they used to talk about the influence of the far right, the influence of the Nazis in Ukraine, and now it's portrayed as a sort of paragon of democracy. I mean, it's an obscenity.
If they find in your social media Ukrainian flag or arm.
Yeah, is this? I'm just asking some of my chat here. Is this an organisation or is this just a blanket kind of generic statement?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just trying to find that there. But yeah, obviously I saw some of your speech at the end. I came a little bit late, so I don't know whether you spoke more the No To NATO event. I work with David Clues as well at Unity News Network, so he's been one of the guys on it. Yeah, so I thought I'd come down there. I'll do a live stream, not for UNM, but for my personal channel, Delivering Liberty. So I guess that's what I do. I just go around and just walk around, report on things and all that sort of stuff. But thank you very much, Chris. Cheers, thank you. Cool. Have a good day. Cheers, thank you. Right, guys. How much battery power have I got? Is that 13%? Oh dear, 13% I've got, and I don't think I've got any. I've got a really shitty power bank. Like, it's cheap shit I bought on YouTube, eBay. It's a jump starter as well, but I wouldn't even trust that either. Fortunately, I think I've been got any power. Oh fucking hell! Let's see if I've got any power in it left. Have I got any? I don't know. It looks like it's pretty depleted. I might actually only have like about a couple of zaps in it left. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, guys, I think where should I go? I could go Speaker's Corner, I suppose. I would love to walk and talk with you lot, but I've only got 13% battery left, so I'll probably, hopefully, if this power bank has some energy in it, maybe I could go to the Wetherspoons because Neil McRae's there with a couple of people, and I could technically charge my phone at the Wetherspoons. and have a cheeky Swift one. And then when it's relatively good battery power, I'll just perhaps hop to Speaker's Corner, perhaps. What do people think? Go in a caff shop. No, well, I'm not really a coffee caff man. I'm more of a pub man, so I'll probably, I think I'll do that. I'll pop in, say hello to Neil McRae, have a pint with him, charge the phone, and hopefully after the 1 pint, it will be has relative battery power left, and then I can charge. Have some, maybe go live again. If I always can't get good connection in Speaker's Corner, but maybe I'll go live. But I imagine there's shitloads. There's always live streamers. There's Street Mic's always there. Another Alternative's usually always there. But yeah, we'll see. Should we do that, chaps? Does that sound like a plan? I got quite a good few interviews today, didn't I? For someone that wasn't even going to show up today because I was so knackered when I woke up. Let's read some of your comments. So I got my sunglasses on. We'll see what it says. It says guess the table number. Oh, what's that?
I must have felt so scared.
I remember that time Will from Resistance GB got told off for walking on the parade square because he was still in a fucking horse. It's like, Will, what are you doing, man? They're like literally parading around in their parade square, and you're just like going up to them, shoving a camera in the fucking their faces. What's going on? There's something happening down there. Gonna get 1 million subs now. I think it's just a change. It's just a change of the guard, isn't it? Just changing. I've seen that so many times. I'm sure all you guys have as well. Last guard is 4 PM. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I used to do all that shit back in. I used to be in the TA and all that. So it bores me. I've been there, I've done it. Not on horseback though, but you know.